بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Jazakallahu khairan for coming and attending our event. Alhamdulillah, we are about to begin. Inshallah, we'll start with a short recitation of the Quran, followed by some words by our esteemed guest, Sheikh Michael AbdurRashid Taylor, and then the movie, inshallah ta'ala.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم ويتفكرون في خلق السماوات والأرض ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك فقنا عذاب النار ربنا إنك من تدخل النار فقد أخزيته وما للظالمين من أنصار ربنا إننا سمعنا مناديا ينادي للإيمان أن آمنوا بربكم فآمنا ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد صدق الله العظيم.
Alhamdulillah, it's a great honor Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with to sit together and inshallah learn about something which is very important in regards to our deen and reformation of our lives. So always with anything, a niyyah, the intention is something that's always important. And so alhamdulillah, getting together for a social event to have some free food and to enjoy some afis is always tempting, but alongside with that, to actually have an opportunity to learn is really, really important for us. So Allah has brought us together for this. There was a good number of registrations, mashallah. We had about 90 registrations on the boys' side and approximately the same, or if not more, on the sister side. So it's a larger turnout, mashallah, and we're hopeful that this coming together will not just be about the movie and the dinner, but rather what we take back from it. And so we're very fortunate that we have with us our esteemed guest, Sheikh Michael AbdurRashid Taylor, and he'll be saying a few words. But before that, just acknowledging those that have been able to put this together is very important. Alhamdulillah, we have many youth groups that operate within the Durham region. We have high school MSAs, university MSAs, masjid youth groups, as well as the masajid themselves. So the masjid youth groups, this group of youth that came together, and they gave themselves a name, the Durham Muslim Youth Council. It's just a collection of these high school MSAs and university MSAs and three of our masjids across or 3 or 4 masjids across Durham. Their youth groups coming together and trying to discuss on how to do things, how to benefit our young people, work together. Everybody works individually anyway in their spheres, but working collectively to some degree was also of great importance. And so this was an idea that developed out of that. And then our masajid in Durham, the Islamic Center of Oshawa, Masjid Quba, and Masjid Uthman, the Pickering Islamic Center, they helped in supporting and sponsoring the event, as well as Afi's Grill, who is where the food is also catered from, and most importantly, the Brother Abdurrahman and his family. They own and operate the the Holiday Inn, and this convention center is leased to them, and they are the ones that sponsored this hall, and also sponsored the staff and everything else. So we have Miss Kathy and her team, which is actually with us, and they will be here for the event as well. They've taken care of the setup and are helping with with other areas as well. And so this is really a group of people coming together to try and put this together for the benefit of our community. Alhamdulillah, we also have a number of volunteers who from our youth groups that have volunteered to try and help and assist and make this possible. So all of these individuals coming together and organizations and groups coming together is how this has materialized and has come to this point. So we thank all of them. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless each and every one of them, and to make it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes this a source of hidayah and nur and rahmah for each and every person sitting here, for all of those that were involved, and even for those that aren't, and even for our non-Muslim community. That's our hope, inshallah ta'ala. So Brother Sheikh Michael AbdurRashid Taylor will be just giving a few points in regards to the movie that you're about to see, inshallah, and then we will go into the movie itself, inshallah. Sorry, I should have just read your bio if that's fine with you. I apologize for that. So Sheikh Michael AbdurRashid Taylor is a compassionate thought leader helping people and organizations develop fundamental perspectives and attitudes that enable a maximization of their potential through education, mentorship, facilitation, training, and public speaking. A graduate of UHN Rutman School of Management's Leadership Development Program and a Master's of Theological Studies with over 15 years international experience in healthcare and organizational development. Sheikh AbdurRashid Taylor works with people from diverse backgrounds and has led training and workshops across Canada, Barbados, and the Cayman Islands. He has multiple certifications and trainings in crisis intervention and counseling, anger management, facilitation, restorative justice, alternatives to violence training, and mental health and addictions. Sheikh AbdurRashid Taylor is the creator of VACAP, Violence, Anger, and Conflict Awareness Project, a violence, anger, and conflict management approach for youth and adults. A brief sample of Sheikh AbdurRashid's works. He's been part of the Center for Addiction and Mental Health. He was the manager there at CAMH. Also part of the Canadian Mental Health Association in its diversity, spirituality, and mental health. Part of the Habitat Services of Toronto, dealing with critical incident debriefing. The Government of the Cayman Islands, Managing Stress After Trauma. Bereavement Ontario Network, Death, Dying, and Bereavement and Islamic Perspective. Associated Youth Services Appeal, Diversity Training for Service Providers. St. Clair Senior Services, a restorative approach to staff working well together. Ontario Multi-Faith Council, caring for the caregiver, and the Ministry of Community and Social Services, Ontario, Spirituality in the Workplace. So these are few, I guess, of the accolades and you can find these on Sheikh's own website, rashidtaylor.com.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, wa salatu wa salam ala khairul mursalin, habibina wa maulana Muhammad. Nashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. I am just really pleased and happy to be here. Also very excited about the Durham Youth Council. I'm about to flip another digit in my odometer of age, and every time that flips, it takes me further and further away from when all of my hair was black. So that has changed, but I'm really excited that young people in Durham region have chosen to come together to do something to make change and to plot their pathway to success as Muslims living here in Canada. So why we're here, so we're going to do two things. One, watch the film Tug of War, and there was some materials that Maulana Sheikh Shakir received, and one of the things that we wanted to say that the movie itself is in a place where it seeks to give Muslim youth a basis for understanding how extremist propaganda works. Also to help young people to develop some critical thinking skills, to analyze and filter what's going on around them, And what we're going to do today is to look at the movie and then process that movie, and then look to have a conversation about young people and functioning afterwards. So that we're going to try to segue into that, inshallah. A couple of things with the film. Just like anything else that has strong content, you got to be aware that some of your own strong feelings might come up, or your reactions might come up. They're normal and they're natural. I also want to let you know that we're in a safe space where we can share our reactions and our feelings, and that Maulana Shakir and myself are available to help anyone afterwards with those feelings that might come up. So we're going to debrief the film and answer and ask some questions, and then we'll have some time for conversations. I am expecting that I'll get some feedback from you, both sides, men and ladies, young people and young women, and I hope that we can have a good conversation. The website deal, if you're trying to find me on the website, check me on my Twitter account, is Rashid Taylor. and I don't have Instagram. My kids tell me I'm supposed to have an Instagram, but my techie son, who's responsible for the old information on my website, he is supposed to help me. So inshallah, we're gonna, without further ado, we're gonna have a conversation after the movie. The movie is about 58 minutes or so, and then afterwards we'll come back and we'll have a conversation, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. So we're gonna try to get an opportunity to unpack some what we witnessed. Any kind of initial reactions? No reaction. So everything is okay? We're good? Right? We have a party, everything's okay. Sad, isn't it? Sad. That's my initial. This is the first time I'm seeing this movie, and I feel sad. Anyone else feel sad? Sad, a lot of sadness. Why are we feeling sad? I wasn't so sure if he was going to go on the right path or the wrong path, right? That's the sadness for our sister. Someone, another young lady? So our sister says that I feel sad and I feel angry. There seem to be a number of opportunities that were missed to get out of that kind of cycle, right? Out of that pathway. And he ends up on a mattress in the corner of a concrete building. His only friend or companion is with a gun, and I'm crying to Allah. What's he saying? I don't want to be here. I'm sorry, right? And he's in the States, and then his mother comes with a text message that says, "Your son has been killed." Any other feelings from that? You guys have any feelings? You guys have feelings. I know what we got to dig from, right? Any reaction to this? As a parent, it's pretty scary that some of these things, some of these pitfalls are in front of our young people, right? And it can be easy to fall into them, right? Exactly, it's true, right? It's out there. So the things that are, my first question is like, if you remember at the beginning of the movie, right? What are some of the things that the proper question is? Can you identify which segment of society is vulnerable to gang, criminality, and radicalization if not catered to properly? Right? So what did you see from the beginning? So go back. First of all, Khalil, what's going on with him? He just got out of jail, right? What else is going on? He's trying to correct the way that got him into jail in the first place on that first cycle. What else? Yeah, he's rejected by his family because of the stuff that was going on before he went to jail, right? Anything else? He finds out he has a daughter that he doesn't have a place in her life. I missed her. Okay, yes, John. Anything else?
No stable place to stay.
No homelessness, right? Homelessness. So those are some of the pieces that can contribute to criminality and certainly radicalization. Piece of it I also wanted to say was hopelessness, right? With all of the dead ends that he was hitting, right? Nothing was working out, right? So he was in a place where he had been like losing hope. So that's Khalil, right? What struck you about Anas's character? Mm-hmm. Yes. Right, so initially you meet Anas and what's going on, right? They're looking far, you're coming to our lands, they rape our men, they pillage, all this kind of the regular things that you hear, right? Those kind of calls that really, and where does that hit, right? Oh, I want to live in the land of Islam, I want to live in a place where there's freedom and Muslims can do this and do that, right? So that's where he was initially, that's how we met him, right? Struggling for this, okay, this kind of a pure Islam kind of situation, correct?
So he was confused and he was alone.
He was confused?
He was confused and he was alone.
He was confused and he was alone also, true, right? So he didn't have any other support, so we don't see any, was his family mentioned at all, and that's his family? No. Hmm?
Divorced.
He was divorced. Oh, that's right. Yeah, the girl was married 2 years and she divorced me 3 weeks ago. Because why? She didn't know how to cook and clean. Eh? She didn't. That's what he said. Sorry. So that happened, right? So he himself is dealing with some other stuff, right? The divorce, loss of his family. And you think that kind of thinking and situation can also produce hopelessness? Yeah, right? So hopelessness and trying to find a place to correct some of that what's going on in his life. So Anas voices his grievances with Western foreign policy and unjust treatment of Muslims is one of his main planks, right? But if you think about what he was saying and what he was doing, could he have done anything different in order to help the plight of Muslims? Don't put your hands up. You're gonna. The lady with the black hijab. You're putting your hands. She's putting her hands like this, right? That means that I want to answer a question. Don't do that. Don't go to an option. So, is there anything else Anas could have done differently, ladies? Anything else? Yes. Splitting the blame on Muslims in the West and the Imams, right? And he didn't seek any kind of solutions. What could some of those solutions be? Helping young people, that's one of the solutions. Any other solutions? Gaining proper knowledge of deen, yes. Any other solutions? Find someone to help or to talk to. Might be therapeutic. It doesn't necessarily have to be therapy, but a trusted person that you can talk to, that you can share your feelings with, that wouldn't judge you, that would give you good feedback and be helpful to you. Doesn't necessarily have to be therapy that you are sitting on someone's couch and you're thinking about a dog or anything like that. No. I mean, it's having a trusted person that you can speak to and that will not judge you and that will assist you to find other solutions or to cope. Those are 3. What else could he have done? Anas. So far, the guys are getting 3 and nothing. Okay, what other solutions can I find? So, we talk about voting, right? So Anas was over 18, he had the ability to vote. Yes, sir? Okay, you're saying that he could have looked at what he was doing, right? That whole thing of self-reflection, what am I doing? Where am I in all of this? how can I change me? That whole thing of self-reflection, that is an art that's lost so much, right? Because you're reaching out for the other and blaming the other, but regularly you're not considering yourself, right? So self-reflection. Any other thing that's good? Okay, to deal with the thing that got him in trouble in the first place, that gave him all the guilt, right? So the guilt, okay, we got you, you're watching whatever, right? Right? So to deal with some of that, to find some help to deal with that, a lot of that is your own, well, you deal with your own stuff, right? So how do I stop? How do I find solutions? And we want to talk a little bit about addictions and addiction to pornography. It's a real thing. I spoke with Umar Patel at a Khalil Center earlier today, and he said, well, one of the issues coming up is the addiction to the devices, but also pornography addiction in Muslim communities is a real thing, right? Okay, so that's Anas. What about Khalil? Anyone feel sorry for him? He's right. He's the only guy that showed some kind of emotion in this whole deal. Well, Anas did break down afterwards, right? So what's going on in Khalil's life that places him in a place where he says, book the thing. I'm booking this, get out of here. Let me find my passport and I'm out of here. What drives him to that place? He feels that he doesn't have any options, he doesn't have anywhere else to turn to, and it's his own way out of the situation. Thank you. Yeah, right? So she's saying, our sister's saying that he can't find a job, he doesn't have connection with his newborn daughter, and the only person who's helping him is Mr. One-Way Trip to Hell, right? Anas, right? That's the only help that he's getting. So, of course, if you feel helpless, what you're going to hold on to is the one who offers you the help, right? Even if that person is sincere or not, you're going to hold on to that. So we talked about homelessness, right? So some of my work is working with Muslims who are incarcerated. I've been doing this for a long time, and it has always been an issue of aftercare. What happens to Muslims once they get out of jail, right? It's been a thing that has, when once I've read my bio, for 15 years, more it's almost 25 years now, right? So it's been a long time, right? But it's a problem that has hardly ever been solved. What is it for Muslims that are getting out of incarceration? How do they manage to re-establish the relationship with their family? It's always been a problem because, Muslims, 100% I want to say, but for the most part, Muslims are law-abiding citizens, right? And for someone to go to jail is like an anomaly, right? People go to jail and you don't want to know them, right? The father is saying that you change your clothes, right? Don't change your towel, you change your clothes, right? Because the whole thing of breaking the law for Muslims is a significant breach, right? And many families, it's never happened, and many times Muslims in our society find themselves in a situation where they're incarcerated. So, homelessness after incarceration, the whole deal with joblessness and relationships. One of the cardinal aspects of correctional planning is that when people get out, they want a home, a job, and a friend. 3 things: house, job, friend. And if people can work towards establishing some of that, things will be a whole lot easier for Muslims getting back into society. I don't want to, so there are 2 things I want to, before I close dinner, right? The frustration piece, right? At some point, both people express frustration, right? If you were their sister or friend or brother or parent or aunt, what could you do to deal with some of the frustration that they might have been feeling? Or what do you think could have been done? Could be done? the frustration, what could be that? One second.
Speak to the parents.
Speak to the parents. Khalid's parents, yeah. Right, as a religious leader, you want to do that, or a friend from the outside, okay, well, this is your son. He's trying to change. Right? Blue shirt you have up your hand? He's smiling. That's just what he's saying. So what else could be done to deal with some of the frustration? Earlier, someone talked about seeking help and therapy. With that amount of frustration, sometimes you need more than just a kind of listening ear. You do need to find some kind of help. It is present and it is out there. Sometimes there's a stigma to getting professional help, but it's seeking professional help when it is needed is probably the best thing to do in that kind of circumstance. Miss, first. Make dua. You see the same sincere dua that Khalil is making on his step before ending his life, right? That's the kind of dua that we want to make, right? I mean, like, how often are we in that circumstance where we're like, okay, I have no way out? The mercy, the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that even when we are at that stage, right? We've messed up our entire life. Our life is just at a dead end, and we're sincere, we repent, we call on Him, we pour our heart out. He in His infinite mercy brings us back and brings us closer to Him. So we see that although Khalil might have been in a circumstance where he didn't see any other positive outcome, he still was a believer and said, Ya Allah, help me. Ya Allah, help me, I don't want to be here. He realized this is a mistake, but unfortunately, he was down a one-way street with no place to return. I have a couple of other voices. So Khalid is a Somali brother, so he could have spoken to someone else to ask for advice? Yeah. But we did see the interaction with Imam Raqib, right? Imam at Sakina. What was that like? How did you see that? The initial reaction. When Imam says, brothers and sisters, he says Islam, the life, you have extremes. You can be extreme over here or extreme over here. But Islam is that middle path, right? That's what we're aiming at, that middle path. And then he speaks about, the politicians looking for votes. So we're going to see him in a few months, right? But the politicians that are looking for votes, right? So, and what does the mass do? Hey, this is it. It's talking about, that voting is haram. Absolutely not. Voting is allowed. I think many people in many Muslim countries would love a vote, right? And we see it, right? We see that democracy is not alive and well in many Islamic majority or Muslim majority countries, right? The institution of voting and civic participation, right? Voting and that aspect of our life, our lives here in Canada. The last piece I wanted to do was law enforcement. So we did witness the law enforcement intervention, right? As unpleasant as that was, it helped someone, right? That law enforcement situation helped us, right? What did you feel about that? Well, the initial pieces when they arrested him and was questioning him, how were you feeling then? You weren't feeling anyway? You weren't feeling upset? Yeah, I was feeling bad for him. He was getting squeezed. They were targeting him. Yeah. So our sister is saying that it was almost like he had no choice, right? They were like, okay, either you help us or we're going to charge you, right? So sometimes that happens, right? Law enforcement leverages an advantage to their advantage, right? So that happened. So all in all, but then we see the situation where they are at the airport, right? And then what does the law enforcement do, right? The law enforcement interdicts him, and brings him back, and he's saved. But Khalil still had a choice, right? They didn't go through customs yet, right? They were still in that waiting area waiting to go through customs at the border point. So Khalil still had a choice, and he made a choice. But the law enforcement that brings him back, how did you feel when that happened? You saw that happen? Okay, I was confused. I wasn't so sure if he was being rearrested, if he was, because they did say, well, we can charge for having a forged passport. We can charge for attempted travel for terrorism, and that's a real charge, right? So the law enforcement is saying, listen, we can help, we can bury this guy, or we can do something else. And they made the decision, I assume from what we see, they made the decision not to charge us, but gave him an opportunity to reform his life. Right? So that's very, very real, and it happens regularly where law enforcement that might know what's going on in someone's online activity, or what they say to their friends, or what their friends are saying about them, might interdict and stop someone. Because popular thinking is, we're in a free country and you're free to think the way that you want to think. That's one of the markers of the democratic society. But when you are starting to make actions or thinking of violence towards someone else, or harming someone or harming society, then that's not within the rubric of keeping within the law. So that's what happened in that case. So overall, what might some of the learnings be for you from this movie? Or since our communities need more support structures? Yeah, very true. Walk the middle path. You can get a one-side from there. If you've ever lived in a third world country with a sugar cane on two sides of the road, you walk the middle path, middle of the night. Yeah, that's physical and religiously true. Any other suggestions? Pardon me? 1 second, Miss Black Jack, Miss Brown Jack. You don't know what path someone may take. Eh? You don't know. Yes? Sorry. Pardon me? Understand the situation before you take action. Right? Be careful who your friends are, they will lead you to hell, right? That's what your parents tell you, don't they? Yeah, a bunch of friends. Yeah. So those are some of the learnings that we can take away, right? That, when the film talks about tug of war, that's it with life, eh? All day long, from the moment we get up in the morning and say alhamdulillah, right? Or bismillah, however you move. But every day we have this tug of war as human beings. We have decisions to make. Am I going to turn off the alarm and go back to sleep? Or am I going to get up for lunch, right? Every day. We have to make, every day. We've been doing it for years, right? But every day is the same thing. Am I going to turn this thing off and get up and make fletcher? Every day. Or, if we have the alarm clock in our homes, Allah, okay, am I going to stop playing my game, or am I going to stop eating, or am I going to stop whatever and pray? Tug of war, right? And I go to school, am I going to do the right thing, or am I not going to do the right thing? Every moment of our day, we have these things of this tug of war. Do I do good, or do I do not good? And it's a real thing in our lives. And maybe really it's something that keeps us alive. We have to make this decision all the time. Jannah is not easy, it just doesn't happen and you gotta earn it. So, if you can start, we're gonna have another conversation. We're gonna spend probably 15 minutes max. We have time. I bore people, right? So that tug of war, I mean, is in our lives and every day. Whether you are younger or older or female or male, you have these decisions that have to make. And there are a number of things that go into how we can make good decisions about our lives, right? And how we are functioning as people. So I'm going to segue into my small presentation we did this week. So is there any other, are there any questions that you think or that need raising right now, or conversation that we might need to have? Okay, huh? Extremism. What you mean? What does that mean?
The jihadist mentality.
The jihadist mentality. I think that we saw that, right? We saw that exhibited by Anas. You know, I mean, it is present and it's everywhere, right? And regularly, it is as if there was no alternatives, and that all or nothing thinking regularly get people there, right? That the only solution, you know, is causing harm, and the causing harm has been a situation where someone that wants to cause harm to someone else regularly is impacted on themselves so much, right? Let me make that clear. Regularly, we've seen in the experience of our lives here in Canada, we don't have to go very far to see examples, right? There are people in our communities, there are people that we know, the people we've heard of, people read about in the newspaper, that attempt to harm someone else, but in reality, the harm is to themselves and to our community more so than outside of the community. You know, the way that Muslims are now portrayed in the media, the issue of Islamophobia, how the difficulty of you know, existing in our society, the pressure that Muslim women that wear hijab are placed under, I can say is a direct response of this jihadi mentality, right? That this kind of, so the actions that has happened in North America and in Canada has, as a result of those actions, have bred more policing, more surveillance, all of those things that weren't present here prior to this kind of thinking in our communities. Muslims live, you know, still we dealt with racism, but the whole issue of Islamophobia has not been at the height as it has been in the past few years, and we have now have the provincial governments making law that directly target the practice of religion in Canada, which is really contrary to what has traditionally been a Canadian way of life, right? Things have changed, and we can see really that this has been, can have a direct kind of a link to this type of mentality of harming others and that kind of thing, right? I tell young people, if you want to learn to fire a gun, join the college, join the police. You know, if you want to shoot a tank, you know, join the Canadian Army has a whole lot of opportunity for people, just men and women, to sit in the tank and shoot big things and cause things to blow up and that kind of thing, if that's what you're interested in, right? To do so in a law-abiding way that supports life rather than seek to extinguish life. Okay. Good. So in 2016, the Imprint Foundation, sponsored by the Cal State Institute and the Olive Tree Foundation, did a survey. They surveyed and they took young Muslims between the age of 18 and 34 And there were 300 of them, and they asked them, what do you think are issues that are facing Muslim youth today? And some of these issues have a direct relationship to the extremist thinking or extremism. But we see those things. That was a slide that switched. So the issues that we have in front of us, right? Islamophobia. Currently, there's an Ontario bill that seeks to name February 29th as the day against Islamophobia and hate, right? So that's one of the issues that are facing Muslim youth today. But when you look at the other things, right, xenophobia, the people that say, oh, Canada belongs to, I don't know, we want to keep all those types of people outside of Canada, and this is what a Canadian is, right? That's what xenophobia is, that you're caught up, and it's related to what's called populism, where you're saying that the majority of the population defines who is really belonging here, right? Social pressures, Muslim youth identified as one of the issues facing young people. Identity crisis, intergenerational divide, and mosques run by elders and others, right? These two things in the middle, the social pressures and identity crisis, what might they look like for young people? Social pressures. What would that be? Some of those things. What are you facing as young people as a pressure? Friends trying to influence you to do things that are haram or that will harm you. Yes. To look and act just like everybody else. Okay. That's a social pressure. Yeah.
Fitting into pop culture.
Fitting into pop culture. Anything else? Just in general following westernized stuff. Okay, so those are big picture things, right? So what might that look like? Drug use, drug and alcohol use. Yeah. Social pressure. Not wearing hijab for ladies. Well, that is for the guys, right? Okay. Other social pressures. Okay. Lowering your personal religious standards. That's what you're saying, right? You don't need to do that. Why are you doing that, right? Let me hear some of the pressures some of the guys are facing. It's okay, I was a young person too, and I had a lot of pressures. Right? What might they be? Premarital sex? Right? The ladies don't know you're not free from that. I mean, it's real, right? And I hope that we can have a real conversation because we're in a safe space. Right? Premarital sex. Look what I have here for you to see, right? Is shoplifting still a social pressure? My first crime, oh man, sorry. I did have a lot of crime, But as a young person, I was going to school, and this one fellow, he used to shoplift, right? I'm from Barbados, small country, and I went to school near the capital, in the capital city, basically. And he liked stealing stuff. And he would show these things, like, okay, this is what I got, right? And he convinced me one day to steal stuff, I wasn't a Muslim at the time, but I was living in a religious Christian family, and stealing was not a thing that we did, right? So to this day, I would recognize what I stole. I stole some candy, but I also stole this 5 dice set. For gambling, right? So not only did I steal something, I stole something that helped me to gamble, right? So shoplifting, I was young as kid, it was maybe 13 or 14, right? But shoplifting is one of the things that are present. Any other social pressures that young males are looking at these days? listen to rap music, not only rap music, but in some cases heavy metal music. And the real bad rap music, not like Drake, which is just passé, right? It's the other, like Lil Wayne and some of that stuff that I've heard. And I've heard it, right? Any other social pressures for that males face? Gang activity and membership? Is that still a social pressure? Or like, is that a rumor of Salvation gangs in the east part of Toronto real? Or am I just imagining this stuff, right? Right? And with the gang membership, what's going on with gang membership? Right? Drugs, selling drugs, right? So I'm not using it, well, most of them won't do that stuff, but I'm going to sell it. Right? Happens, eh? Part of the deal. And the young women are also facing social pressure with gang activity, right? Hold this for me. Carry this for me. That kind of thing that's out there. Social pressures, and it's real. And it's a real thing that all young people face. But Muslims in particular have those pressures that I hope that we kind of pull ourselves back and make decisions, because we have the tools to make a better decision. One of the things that I'd like to say is that when one of the outcomes of falling prey to those social pressures, regularly Muslims find themselves to feel more guilty after they have stepped over a line. Right? Like, oh man, I did that, right? And one of the traps that some Muslims face is that they get caught in that situation and they believe, I remember hearing many years ago someone say to me, I don't know if Allah can forgive me. Right? Because they had done something so terrible that they weren't sure of Allah's forgiveness. Right? That struck me, right? The person didn't believe that Allah would forgive them. And then fast forward a few years later, it's June, I'm visiting in the federal penitentiary and I'm walking with a man that murdered someone. He murdered someone and he became a Muslim. And we were walking across a baseball field and he's very remorseful. And he said, I know that Allah will forgive me, but I'm not sure that my victim's family will forgive me. And then I know that this fellow had something, he's on a pathway to wellness, because he's understanding the implications of his actions. That not only is he offending against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that he has caused an impact on the families of his victims. And that is an awareness that regularly people don't want to face, right? This reality. So those are some of the issues that are facing Muslim youth today. The next slide is about resilience. So resilience is the ability to not only exist, but to thrive and improve your life. So when the survey talked about resilience, it said that despite all the things that are happening to Muslims and to Islam and Muslims in Canada, like young Muslims in Canada, 90% of them feel a sense of belonging in our society, right? So 44% of those people had a very strong sense of belonging, and another 46% felt generally a strong sense of belonging. So what might that belonging be for Muslims, you think? Yeah, having freedom, right? Yeah, having the freedom to participate in the general life of the society. So it's a mark of belonging. Anyone else belonging?
You feel safe.
I feel safe, right? I belong here, I feel safe. Anyone else? Being comfortable in my own skin. Yeah. I'm this, and I'm proud. I'm a Muslim, but I'm proud. I'm here. I'm Canadian. I've probably got a passport, right? Got a driver's license. Sense of belonging, being able and feeling free to practice my deen and not feeling any bit uncomfortable in that practice or feeling kind of way about it. Yeah, right? All markers of belonging in a society, things like voting, seeing yourself represented in public spaces, not having to live in a particular area, not having to carry a yellow card or a yellow star as Jewish people in Germany had to do to identify themselves, right? I feel like I'm part of the society. I'm making change. I see myself reflected in everywhere. I see myself in my teachers, in my leaders, in my representatives, etc. Extremely important. So that's a sense of belonging. And 92% of Muslim youth feel proud to be Canadian. So proud that when we come 17th in a marathon at the Olympics, we're cheering for the guy. We're not like Americans that want to be number one, right? We want to be number one, but number 17 is okay, right? But still, we are proud to be Canadians, right? Most Muslims, 92% of Muslim young people are proud to be Canadian. And what might that look like, being proud to be Canadian? Cheer for Team Canada, yeah. How else might being proud to be Canadian, what might that look like? Yes, being a proud member of society and participating in community events. Anything else? An identifier, yeah, I'm a Muslim Canadian. And I think that whole issue we talked earlier about the generational divide, right? Where our parents might still think back home, right? But for many of us, back home is Scarborough General, right? That's back home, right? So being proud to be able to say I'm Canadian, I'm Muslim Canadian, I'm here, right? Any other ways of being proudly Canadian? Caring about what happens right here, right? Caring about Canada's impact on the environment, caring about who's leading us, caring about, I'm interested in wow, we got a so all playing out, right? So caring about those outcomes politically by a Canadian, right? That's a big sense of being proudly Canadian, making those choices. Feeling free to be a practice or religion in Canada, right? And that's part of what Canada is, right? This kind of multicultural, multi-religious mosaic where people are on an equal footing and no one is more privileged than the other. We can talk about that, that's another talk altogether, but feeling that way and being proud to say I'm Canadian. I got a Canadian flag in my car. It's never helped me not to get a ticket, but I work for an agency, I work for the federal government of Canada, and I'm very proud to say, I work for the federal government, right? And like I say, every day you contribute towards the growth of this country, whether it be economy, right? But also what do you contribute as a human being? What can you add to the world's knowledge? What can you add to the world's wealth by who you are as a person? What do you as an individual, as a person, what discovery do you have to add to the world, right? Who's the next nuclear scientist? Who's the next doctor? Who's the next baseball player that would say, yeah, that was a Canadian that did that, right? I want to test this statistic. I know that young people have to volunteer in order to get a grade 12, right? I want you to put your hands up if you've ever volunteered. No one else? The ladies are in both, y'all, don't worry. So I want to say that about 70% of the people in this hall have volunteered. And volunteerism is one of the markers of giving back to society, right? That you take out of your time and out of your life to give something to someone else without expecting anything in return. So this stat says that 51% of people have volunteered, but in the Young people in Durham, I want to say that 70% of you have volunteered, which is about the statistic. And they have a positive view of Canadian multiculturalism, right? That you know that you enjoy the aspects of that multiculturalism, whether it is in art or food or friendships. How many people have a friend at their school or in their employment or their neighborhood that is completely not like them? They're not South Asian, they're not Muslim, they're not tall, sorry, not tall. But who has a friend that's completely not like them? Right? A large number of people, right? So you value that in someone else. So you understand that Allah has created us all different, so we may know each other, right? So that's one of the values of multiculturalism, really that's based on the Quran, right? Where Allah has created you in different tribes, so you may know each other. So that whole thing, those are some of the markers of the resilience in Muslim youth that were part of this survey. What was that? If you can, the next one around, so we had the issue of if you go back to the movie, right? And the narrative for Muslim youth, right? So how do Muslims counteract some of the stories that are told about Muslims and Islam, right? The notion of social responsibility, and that social responsibility includes voting, but it also includes holding our politicians to account. It also talks about, obeying the law, that kind of social responsibility. Political activism is one of the things that were completely missing in the narrative that was told in the movie, right? That the striving of the people that are going far away in another country to struggle and to try to counteract what's going on with the politicians in our country. But we know that political activism is what changes that, right? If you have a government that is leaning one way that is against, that wants to do the thing that people are talking about, you have the ability to be active politically, to change the government and change the narrative. Voting counts. The media, and I said media, but media is not just Gilroy Massa on TV, right? Canada's first Muslim hijabi on Prime Time News. But what other media is out there? Social media, right? I bet who in here have watched the 6 o'clock news on City TV last week? Go on. Oh man, I watched it, right? It killed me again. So who else have watched news on Twitter? Okay. Who else have gotten news items from Facebook? Pinterest? Instagram? Oh, Instagram, wow. I never get on Instagram. So we're saying that the media, so ladies really do Instagram. So the media is a very effective way of implementing change, right? So in the morning when I flip on my Twitter, I'm old school, sorry. When I flip on Twitter, I first go to see, okay, what's in the news, right? And all my friends, all my Twitter followers and the people that I follow have, a lot of the times, have similar interests to me, right? So I know, so immediately I'm told. So that's how I get my news, right? So media, watching the media and influencing media, right? You yourself are an influencer, right? So someone on the Instagram to say, we're having a conversation about Tug of War in Durham region, right? And share that with others. Others will see, wow, Muslims are having these kinds of conversations, and it's important. Building bridges, regularly building bridges across sometimes historic difficulty. yesterday? Earlier this week, I met a Turkish friend of mine who recently put on a Muslim-Jewish dialogue. Regularly we see Muslim-Christian dialogue, and we're closer for sure. But Muslim-Jewish dialogue is something that is very difficult to do because of politics, right? It seems that we move past the religion and get to the politics quite quickly. But with Muslims and Christians, we're able to have a conversation about religion and doing good in the society. But building bridges in places where the bridges have been difficult in the past, like Muslims that are Indian descent, the Muslim-Hindu bridge building, right? The places where there have been issues of harassment or racial discrimination, reaching across and build a bridge to encourage conversation, making positive change in our society is one of the ways of counteracting some of the trouble that we've seen. I have 2 more slides. This one I use, and it's part of the VCAP program that I look at. Not that one before. There we go. This whole deal of who I am, right? What is my personality? What feeds into that? So that whole thing is those 5 pieces, the values, right? Values like how I think of what's good and bad, or right and wrong. My emotions, like my feelings, and my reactions to things. How do I make decisions? I think the battery's dying. But I just want to say that all of this, the whole issue of our personality is made up of different things. How I make decisions, how I view right and wrong, how I view myself, the whole issue of why am I doing, my motives, why am I doing what I'm doing. All those go into, it might be more than this, eh? So all of this looks at our personality, and that how we see ourselves and impacts on how others see us, right? So if we look at those 2 main characters, right? When we look at Khalil, our Somali brother, how do you think he saw himself as a person? Maybe I'm a loser. Got a big L, right? Loser. Right? Because I haven't been able to, I got a kid, I don't know who the kid is, don't even know her name. I just got out of jail, I don't have anything. Does he have good values? Right? He probably has good values, but he doesn't have a way of living them out. Right? He doesn't have a way of embracing those values and sharing them with others and being all that he can be because of his situation. His emotions, what goes into how he reacts to things, right? So can we say that Khalil is angry? Yeah, Khalil is angry. Can we say that Khalil feels alone and hopeless? Yeah. So when he might feel like that, that goes into what his personality, what's making him up. Is he making good decisions? Probably not, right? He doesn't have the ability to make good decisions because he isn't in control of anything. Let's look at some of the good decisions he made. He made a decision to get a job, right? That was a good decision. But when he made that decision, was it successful? No. He's got a 4-year gap in his resume, right? Quite is kept that regularly people who are in federal jails are able to continue their education and sometimes work on getting employment. We gotta hold this really gently, right? So people who are in federal jails and do 4 years in prison might get some skills while they're in prison, but he has very few skills. His motives, why is he doing stuff, right? When he makes the final decision to go overseas, why is he doing that? Is he sure why he wants to do that? Not particularly, right? But I think that sometimes he feels, it seems to me as though he feels that he doesn't have a choice. And even when he's seeing his buddy getting taken out of the airport, he still isn't making a good decision. He's seeing that, he's witnessing that. And most people would be like, oh, I'll be right, I'm gone. But he doesn't. He continues in that pathway that takes him to a place where he's on a video screaming and shouting about doing something horrible. So I show this to say that our personality is influenced by a whole lot of different things, and we all have these different influences, and our personalities are different. One of the things that I wanted to finish out with was, some resources. The resources that I have there, anyone has heard of NASIHA, Youth Helpline, Mental Health? So they have a 1-800 number, that people that are feeling dismayed or angry or sad or lonely or having to make tough decisions and they need some help. They are a free helpline that anyone can call. The Khalil Center, they have to get their social media game on, but they also resource, and these two, Nasiha and Khalil Center are Muslim organizations that are there to help Muslims, really available. Then there's always a Durham Region Distress Line, an 800 number that people can call in 24 hours. Is there any other resources that people might use? If you're in a place where you feel trapped or helpless or lonely or sad or whatever, what some other resources might be out there? My guidance counseling school. Someone over here? Canadian Health Association. The Masjid. Any other resources? My dad, my mom. Allah, not when you're in a hole, and you're trapped, you can't get on. Allah help me. Allah helps us, man. Imagine that, right? If you were Allah, what would you do? Astaghfirullah. I know. But if Allah had human qualities, right? And someone that this thing all the time and end up in a jam and then call on them, you think twice, right? So the school, religious leaders, Canadian Health Association, the internet regularly has resources that are able to help. Sometimes a trusted person, a friend that can listen to you with unconditional love and no judgment, those that can also be a help. And the leaders, the leaders in our communities that have been there, right, and have had some experiences answering some of these questions. So it's out there. And that's about the end of what I wanted to do. I want to wrap up and say that, this movie is an opportunity, probably the first opportunity that many of us have seen portrayed the issue of extremism and extremist thought and this whole notion in our community, right? It's an active question. It is out there. It is no secret anymore. And there remain people in our communities that still call towards this kind of action. Really, it's a story of warning, right? That this can happen, right? That the way forward, and we see what's going on globally. We see that a group that owned, 1/3 of 2 countries ended up in a small village, right? So we know that this methodology of making change on the world stage has never been done like this. This is not, we live in a modern age, and that kind of approach to life and conquering and this kind of thing is not it's not healthy, and from what we have seen, it's really a pathway to failure, right? And that Muslims can make better changes by participating actively in our society to the extent that we can. That extent involves making changes from where we start. If you find that, that Muslims might not be well known or well received, even in our school, Muslims can make a change in that. Things like Islamic History Month is significant. International Day Against Racism and Discrimination, significant. Those kind of things that Muslims can make changes that cause larger change. I don't think that anyone would have imagined that school children would have walked out of school on a Thursday afternoon and protest the government in their province, right? Young people taking action and taking their futures into their own hands. And it is there for us. So with that, I'd like to invite one else up to come up and maybe we're good and we can move forward. I want to say Jazakallah khairan. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Thank you for participating. I too was a young person, idealistic, and I wanted to make a change in the world, and I'm very happy and satisfied that the future of Islam in Canada and in Durham region is in good hands with you folks here. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you and make your way easy. Because it's not going to be easy, right? It's going to be hard, but may Allah give you the tawfiq to maintain your methodology, your deen, your way of life, and your personhood, and what special gifts you bring to our community, what you bring to Durham region, what you bring to Canada. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah khairan to Sheikh AbdurRashid Taylor for that inspiration. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him and reward him. Sheikh is very busy. He's an immense resource for our community himself, and we're fortunate that we have somebody of his caliber, of his type, that mashallah is willing to come out. He was driving people. I think he drove back from Kingston yesterday, correct? And he visits Kingston as part of his responsibilities, and still, despite a busy schedule, he's mashallah active and willing. Sheikh went out of his way to prepare this presentation, this slideshow for us, the PowerPoint, and was, mashallah, it was very interesting when discussing it. This is the first time that I've met Sheikh multiple times, but this was the first time I've had to actually kind of interact with him in this manner, and it was very interesting how passionate he was to figure out what he was. This was the first time he was seeing the movie as well, but despite that, he was so prepared with regards to what he wanted to say, and that's really interesting, amazing for us. So he's a great resource, and you have access to his website, rashidtaylor.com, but I guess that's not
Twitter.
what he prefers. Twitter, and when he gets on Instagram, then I guess on Instagram as well. Jazakallah khairan again to everybody for attending, and to all of the volunteers. I would remind us that our staff that are here, that we go out of our way to appreciate them and thank them, and we are really grateful and appreciative to Sheikh AbdurRashid and all the masajid that put this together, and the youth groups that came together. Pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts it from us. Allah makes it a means of hidayah, nur, rahmah and barakah for the entire community, and blesses us with the tawfiq to continue serving His deen. Inshallah, this concludes our program. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallah wa bihamdihi, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Jazakallahu khair.